Yes, Xero accounting software, the little Kiwi tech miracle. For those of you Kiwi business owners out there, you will definitely be very, very familiar with Xero accounting software. They are, of course, a New Zealand founded tech company that made it very, very big globally. So they are a global company now. They're offering accounting software solutions to many countries around the world. And yeah, so they were basically founded in 2006 in Wellington, and nowadays they have just grown to be this massive company that's just worth billions and billions of dollars around the world. So it's just a very, very good little success story for a little old Kiwi sort of accounting company that just expanded around the world from little old New Zealand. So it's just a very good little Kiwi tech miracle story here, and yeah, I just wanted to, do a bit of a dive into this company here because I do have some experience with Xero. Because for those of you who have been following my channel, you will know that I am a small business owner of a branding company, and so I do have a little bit of experience with Xero accounting software, and I just find this to be a very, very good example of a small New Zealand company that just expanded out into the big wide world. So. Yeah, there's not too many companies in New Zealand that have been able to grow to the scale of Xero. But basically, in today's episode, we're just going to be looking into a little bit of the origin stories of Xero, just a bit of the history of the company. And we're just going to be looking up to the present day with the global growth and brand evolution over the years. And we're also going to be looking into what exactly Xero means for New Zealand. What does Xero mean for the New Zealand economy? Is it that important to the New Zealand economy? Does it even bring in that much revenue? These are all questions that we're going to be answering in today's episode here.
Hi, I'm Tom Dunkins, and this is the MarketTalk podcast, where we talk about, well, marketing, and some other things like branding, business, you name it. This podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Be sure to subscribe so you can keep up to date with the latest episodes.
I assume that most people that clicked on this video has some sort of an idea as to what Xero actually does, because they do have very good marketing. I will just say that, with all the YouTube videos, there's always a Xero sort of ad at the start of the video. There might have been a Xero ad before this video here. So they do have very good marketing, so I'm pretty sure, like, at least, 90% of all Kiwis have at least heard of the brand Xero and have some sort of a rough idea that they do something accounting related. But yeah, so as I said before, Xero Limited is basically just a New Zealand technology company that provides cloud-based accounting software for small businesses. So they're really only focusing on small businesses. You wouldn't really sort of, have Xero as your main accounting software if you're going to be like a big Microsoft level company. It's really only for small businesses. But here in New Zealand, we do sort of rely on small business here. We do have a lot of entrepreneurship here in New Zealand. So Xero is, of course, very, very helpful for a lot of Kiwi business owners out there. But yeah, so basically the company has offices in New Zealand, Australia, the United Kingdom, the United States, Canada, South Africa, and Singapore. So you can just see that it is a very global sort of a company these days. Xero's products are based on the software as a service model and sold by subscription, based on the type and number of entities managed by the subscriber. The products are used in over 180 countries, so that's a lot of countries right there. As far as I'm aware, Xero is really the biggest sort of accounting software cloud-based company out there, really. Don't quote me on that. I'm not too sure the facts, but I really wouldn't be surprised. I know there is MYOB, which is sort of up to a similar scale of Xero, but I don't think they're as big as Xero. I haven't used MYOB before, but yeah, that's sort of Xero's main competitor at the moment. But yeah, they do very similar things. They're both sort of sold by subscription. They're both under a subscription model. So it's not like one of those things where you just buy the license and then you've got the software forever. It's like an online thing, so they've just got a sort of website, And to be fair, MyOB, or MYOB, was founded much earlier than Xero. MYOB was founded in 1991 in Australia, whereas Xero was founded in 2006. But I don't think what MyOB was doing was similar to Xero at the time, because Xero is a fully online sort of software, whereas MyOB at the time was more of a just locally based sort of computer program that you downloaded. So it wasn't as integrated as Xero is, so you couldn't really have like online connectivity with MYOB. But with Xero, like you can have so many like users using the same sort of software in the company, you know, so everything's all connected. But with MyOB at the time, like that Xero was introduced, really it was just something that you downloaded and you couldn't really connect it between different sort of users, if you know what I mean. So Xero was a very, very innovative concept at the time. Just the fact that you could literally have so many different computers just in different locations, all just having, you know, the same sort of data for the same company without having to physically like switch over USBs and all that kind of thing, was a very, very innovative idea at the time. So yeah, there was really nothing like Xero at the time of its creation, which is why it's so successful, obviously. But nowadays there are a lot more competitors, and we're going to be looking into a few of these competitors a bit later, including the Microsoft version of Xero that a lot of you probably wouldn't have heard of. But anyway, in terms of the history of Xero, in 2006, Xero was founded by Rod Drury and Hamish Edwards in Wellington, where Xero Limited's headquarters are still located. So they're still located in Wellington. They haven't moved overseas like a lot of the companies I already went over in the last episode did. Because if you haven't checked out my previous episode of Market Talk, we basically just discussed all of the New Zealand-founded companies that have moved overseas. And there are a lot of examples of companies that have done this, like Swan-Dry and Kathmandu and Gallagher, Fisher and Paykel. The list just goes on, really. So check out that video if you haven't already. But Xero is one of those very, very loyal companies to New Zealand that just, you know, they're not going to be leaving New Zealand anytime soon. They're just too loyal, which is a very, very good thing. So the company was actually originally called Accounting 2.0 before it came to Xero in 2006. So there's a bit of a fun fact for you. And by 2017, Xero had more than 1 million customers globally. 1 million, that is absolutely insane. And the following year, it had more than 1 million subscribers in Australia and New Zealand, so just in those two countries. In April 2018, Steve Vamos was appointed as CEO, replacing Rod Drury, who remained on the board as a non-executive director until 2023. So yeah, Vamos announced in November 2022 that he would step down in February 2023 and be replaced by Sukhinder Singh Cassidy, a former executive of Google and StubHub. So yeah, Sukhinder Singh Cassidy is currently the CEO of Xero at the moment. So there you go. It's had its fair share of CEOs over the years. And in 2019, the company announced that it had over 2 million global customers and 3 million subscribers in September 2021. So there you go. I'm going to assume that in this year, 2025, they have to have at least like 4 million subscribers by now, and that's like almost the size of New Zealand on its own. Like, that is a lot of subscribers, you know. So yeah, they are doing very, very well indeed. In March 2023, Sukhinder Singh Cassidy, the CEO of Xero, of course, announced the removal of 700 to 800 roles across Xero, representing approximately 15% of the employee base. And at this time, the company reportedly had more than 3.5 billion subscribers, and this is only 2023, and about 4,500 staff across offices in New Zealand, Australia, North America, the UK and Southeast Asia. And the company had finally announced it had finished its job cuts by November 2023, reducing headcount to 4,242 staff. So yeah, that's That was 15% of their entire employee base gone there. But yeah, I don't really know what all of that stuff about the job cuts was, because by looking at their annual report here, they're still doing very, very well in terms of their revenue. In total, they've earned over 2.1 billion New Zealand dollars, and their revenue is still going up. It's gone up this year. Nothing's going down. Revenue, operating income, net income, total assets, total equity, everything has just gone up recently. So even their staff, this year they have 4,610 staff, and at the end of 2023 they only had 4,242 staff. So their staff is climbing back up again. So yeah, 2023 must have just not been a good year for Xero, which, to be fair, it wasn't really a good year for any company out there, to be honest. 2023 in the whole world, really, it was just a very rough economic time, and things are getting better. Things have definitely gotten a lot better since 2023 for the most part in terms of the economy. So there are good signs of economic recovery. Things are getting back to normal. But yeah, Xero, they can't complain. They're still doing very, very well to this day. So there you go. That's just a bit about the history of Xero. And in the current time, basically what they produce is that the Xero accounting software uses a single unified ledger, which allows users to work in the same set of books regardless of location or operating system. So that's basically just what I explained before. They don't. You can have multiple users using the same sort of log books or whatever for in Xero, because it's all just online. It's literally just over a browser, so you don't even have to download anything. So it's very convenient, much more so than the Microsoft equivalent of Xero and a few other of the alternatives. But it basically also provides automatic bank feeds, invoicing, accounts payable, expense claims, fixed assets and depreciation, purchase orders, bank reconciliations, and standard business and management reporting. So there is a lot that it does, a lot more than just old Microsoft Excel can do. Like, it is a lot more complicated than that. And like I say, I have used Xero, which I will explain a bit later. But in 2011 and 2012, the Xero Touch mobile apps for iOS and Android devices were released. So they do have a Xero app, which is available on touch devices. And Xero is, of course, a publicly listed company. So if we go ahead and look at their shares here, as you can see if you're watching the video, they are doing very, very well. Just over the past year, they have risen 33.96%. That is very, very good indeed. So Xero went public on the New Zealand exchange on the 5th of June 2007 with 15 million New Zealand dollars IPO, gaining 15% on its first trading day. It went public on the Australian Securities Exchange on the 8th of November 2012. But in 2018, Xero transitioned to a sole listing on the ASX on the 5th of February 2018, delisting from the NZX on the 2nd of February 2018. In September 2019, the market capitalisation of Xero on the ASX exceeded New Zealand dollar $10 billion. Oh my God. And it was ranked as the third most valuable publicly listed New Zealand company. So there you go, third most valuable company in New Zealand at $10 billion. So that is a lot of money. Oh my God. So yeah, that's just a little bit about the history of Xero. I don't want to bore you guys too much about, how Xero came to be, but that's basically the history and just a little bit about the products that Xero sells. But yeah, I back in high school, we did learn to use Xero. If James, you're watching this, you all know what I'm talking about in my old accounting class with old Miss Atkinson there, very good teacher. But yeah, so we basically learned how to use Xero in high school in year 11, and at first it was very, very complicated, I will admit that, but you've just got to get used to it, and it's really not that complex of a sort of software program to learn, really. I mean, any business owner can, if they put their mind to it, they can learn how to use it, and that's the beauty of Xero, really. It's just very, very user-friendly. It might seem daunting at first, but once you sort of know what you're doing, everything's all very seamless, very simplistic using Xero. So, It honestly just makes everything in the business so integrated. And by the way, I just want to say quickly here, this episode is not sponsored by Xero at all. I just want to get that off my chest right now. If there's a problem with Xero, I'm going to tell you. But yeah, in my opinion, it just integrates everything so well for small businesses. You've just got all of your invoicing, all of your bank feeds, all of your accounts payable, everything just right there. All of your depreciation sort of statistics, everything is right there. Purchase orders. The only challenging thing was just the whole reconciling thing. It got a bit complex there. But yeah, honestly, by now I've probably forgotten how to use Xero, to be honest, because I've not used it in quite a while. So yeah, I probably won't be using it anytime soon. Unless my business takes off someday, I'll probably go back to using it. The other thing is, it's pretty cheap. Like, it's only let's see, 29 New Zealand dollars a month. That's the starting price for just one sort of user, which is very good. Only 29 a month. If you're a business owner, like, that's pretty good. If you compare that to the Microsoft equivalent of that, they're starting around 210 New Zealand dollars per user per month for their sort of alternative to Xero. So there you go. It's very cheap, very good. I also just think the branding of Xero has always been quite good. Ever since 2006, they've stuck to the same sort of logo. They're still using the same original logo to this day. And it's just a very clean, minimalist design with the whole, lowercase letter, sky blue sort of branding there. And, at the time, logos weren't usually that sort of simplistic. But it really just conveys the whole idea of Xero just being a very simple, easy to use, user-friendly sort of experience, really. So their branding definitely does convey that sort of message there. They were also recognised by Deloitte, the Deloitte Fast 50. They're in the Fast 50 list there. They're also one of Forbes' top cloud companies. So there you go. They've earned a lot of awards over the years. And honestly, like, in terms of what Xero means for New Zealand, they are a very, very important and just a symbolic sort of a company, really. They're one of New Zealand's first true global tech exports. So they're really just a symbol of what's possible beyond dairy, tourism, and just New Zealand's primary exports, because I've already done an episode on, like, Fonterra and why dairy is so important for the New Zealand economy. But really, we just tend to look past sort of tech companies in New Zealand. Like, Xero does bring in a lot of revenue to New Zealand, even though they don't technically export any, like, physical goods, So there's not really any company like Xero in New Zealand at the moment. So I feel like we do just need to expand our horizons a bit in New Zealand in terms of what we're actually doing with our industries, because we really only focus on our agriculture and horticulture sort of industries with our dairy and forestry and all that kind of thing. But we really just need to expand, If we want to survive as a country and as an economy, we just need to do more. We need to start investing in technology. We need to start exporting more machinery, just diversify what we're selling, really, because, this whole dairy thing isn't going to be lasting forever. We're doing well at the moment, but it's not always going to be this way, We just need to start selling just a wider variety of things to other countries, really. So Xero is just carrying the team when it comes to, selling tech products and tech software around the world. So yeah, it's just a very symbolic sort of a thing. It's just it shows that it's possible for us Kiwis to do more than just farming. It has also encouraged growth in New Zealand's SaaS service, or software as a service, and the tech startup ecosystem. So we've got, like, other companies like Vend, Pushpay, and Serco. Those are some of the other tech startups in New Zealand. We've also created high-skill jobs locally and abroad. As I said before, it is also very, very important to the New Zealand stock market, briefly worth over 20 billion New Zealand dollars. And also just direct employment. Like, we have, Xero has over 5,000 staff globally, and still many in New Zealand, most still in New Zealand, actually. So it does does a lot of favours for the New Zealand job market. It also just does a lot of good for the customers of Xero that live in New Zealand, like Kiwi business owners. because it sort of just impacts and expands the digital infrastructure and cloud adoption and just financial literacy in general for New Zealanders. Because nowadays, when someone sees Xero, they think of it as the New Zealand owned sort of company. So we are actually expanding our Kiwi business owners' financial and technological sort of literacy. And honestly, the benefits are just unlimited. I could just keep going on and on, but I don't want to bore you. But basically, the moral of the story is that they're just doing a lot of good things in a lot of ways for the New Zealand economy. They're really raising the GDP quite a lot. But in terms of the competition of Xero, as I went over before, there is MYOB, which I haven't used. I don't think they're doing as good as Xero, but there is also a Microsoft alternative. There are also a few others. You probably wouldn't even have heard of them, like there's QuickBooks Online, Wave, Zoho Books, FreshBooks, just a few other smaller ones, but Xero is probably the biggest sort of online accounting software program there is. But yeah, in terms of Microsoft's alternative, there is Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. That's the name of Microsoft's sort of version of Xero. But basically, what Dynamics is they're really more for medium-sized businesses. Xero is more for small to medium-sized businesses, but you wouldn't really be using Microsoft Dynamics for if you're just going to be a small business. It's really for more medium-sized businesses, maybe large size. Because it's one of those more advanced programs that you actually have to download, and there's just a lot more sort of setting up that goes on, like you might choose to have your own servers that you connect it to, and it's all connected to the Microsoft ecosystem, and it just gets a little bit tricky when it comes to like Microsoft servers and that kind of stuff. But there is also a cloud-based option of Microsoft 365 Business Central, or there is the on-premises sort of version there. And it really just does very similar things. It does full ERP, accounting, inventory, project management, HRM, CRM. Honestly, it just goes on what it can do, really. But yeah, as I said before, it integrates with Microsoft 365 and Power BI and all that. So it is a lot more integrated than Xero is, because when you buy Xero, like that's it. It's just the Xero sort of package. You can't really integrate it to like Microsoft tools or anything like that. Unless, of course, you manually go through and download all the statements and then put that into Microsoft Excel and just go from there. But this whole Microsoft thing is a lot more integrated. As I said before, it starts around 210 New Zealand dollars per user per month, which is substantially more than Xero. And it is a lot more complex, and but in saying that, it is a lot more customizable than Xero is, because Xero tends to focus on more of the user-friendly sort of side of things, just the user experience for small business owners. But yeah, Microsoft is a lot more complex and just more customizable, so it's better for small, like medium to large scale businesses. So that's just a little bit about the whole Microsoft Dynamics sort of thing there. But yeah, this whole Business Central thing is just more of a sort of a broader ERP system, and it's ideal for businesses needing advanced features like supply chain, manufacturing, and deep reporting sort of thing. I kind of just wanted to talk about this because, like I say, it's just a good little success story of a little Kiwi tech startup company that just expanded out into the big wide world, and they're worth tens of billions of dollars these days, really. So, just goes to show, just keep dreaming, anything's possible, even in a small country like New Zealand. So it's just a happy little story here. Just let me know what you thought of that episode in the comments down below. I kind of want to do more episodes like this, just focusing on sort of Kiwi-owned sort of companies and Kiwi entrepreneurs, and just New Zealand success stories, really, in terms of business. So just let me know what you think of that whole idea there. What do you think of this episode? Just let me know down below. So without further ado, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Market Talk content. And without further ado, I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.
Market Talk is a production of TeamTMS. For more episodes of Market Talk just like this one, visit us on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening.